I work midnight shift at a gas station, and I have for quite a while, at various stations in different areas, with varying levels of criminal activity. I have regulars, of course. I'm a small-statured woman, as is my partner the other half of the week, and we've always been partners. So these regulars often worry about us and keep watch on creepy occurrences when they can. I had one man who worked in the metro an hour away, who would stop in every morning for his cigarettes. He never smiled or seemed friendly, and as I often do, I tried to think of what I could do that might make him smile one day. It took many months, but I finally pulled it off by having his cigarettes ready on the counter and already scanned for him to pay for as he walked in. He smiled and then asked me, "Do you ever get scared on the night shift? You small girl is not safe." I said I sometimes did, but we could lock the doors and hide if we had to, and that the provincial police, think state troopers if you're American, had a station close by and came in often to get their highway vehicles washed. I had a good rapport with those police. He nodded and then told me a story about when he first moved to our country from Eastern Europe with his wife and child back in the late 80s, early 90s. He fell asleep at work one night at the gas station he worked midnights at. When he woke up, the phone had been ringing for hours, and his manager was shaking him violently, asking if he was all right. He was fine, he said. What was the problem? He was sorry he fell asleep. His manager screamed that it was fine he fell asleep, to look outside. All of their motor oil was missing, and the outside of the place was a mess. The thieves had come and swiped all the oil and left him be because he slept through the entire thing and then moved down the road to the next station for an encore. At that station, the clerk was awake and fought back, so the thieves stabbed him to death and left him to bleed out. When he finished telling me this, he concluded with, "If you ever feel sleepy, just lock the door and do it. It might save your life." I don't work at that station anymore, but I think about that guy all the time and wonder how his grandkids are. This happened about 15 years ago. It was during the school holidays, and my friend, we'll call her Sarah, and I were extremely bored and just wanted to chill. It was summertime, and we lived in a small town called New Braunfels, Texas. Everything was kinda spread out. Anyway, it was around midnight, and we didn't know where to go, so we decided to head to the park. It's a bit large. We were there for about an hour or so, nothing unusual, until we both saw someone, or something, crouched on a table. First off, it was already strange that someone else was at the park at that time. But what was creepy as hell was that this person wasn't sitting on the bench. He was crouching on top of the table. What really messed me up was, because I didn't look away, I kept staring. I noticed that there were wings. The body looked completely human, but it had wings. The part I'll never forget. Suddenly there was this blood-curdling scream, like a woman being stabbed to death, but not quite human either. It was a sound that no normal person could make, but it also wasn't something any animal could produce. It was almost like those screams in movies, like something demonic. Then it stood up, and this thing had to be at least 8 feet tall, minimum. We both ran as fast as we could. Have you ever run until your lungs were maxed out? I ran until I had no air left, and then kept running until I had to slow down from coughing so hard. We started knocking on people's doors, begging for help, but everyone just threatened us, saying they had guns and would shoot if we didn't leave. We were literally locked outside with that thing. I kept looking into the sky because this whole thing reminded me of Jeepers Creepers, the movie. After about 20 minutes, the police finally showed up. Of course, they thought we were on drugs, but they let us go. I walked the rest of the way home since I lived a few blocks away. The police drove my friend back. There were 2 officers, one white and one Mexican. When the Mexican cop heard our story, he acted like it was made up, but the look on his face, you could tell he knew something. Like he had heard of this before but wouldn't say it out loud. Now, I have PTSD. I hate going outside alone at night, especially near parks or woods. Weird people don't usually scare cops. Animals don't really scare them either. But you know it was something much worse when a cop lies and can't even keep a straight face because of fear. I'm not sure what category this falls under, but it was definitely the strangest experience I've had in years. I worked a night shift at a warehouse. Won't say which one, since it's not important to the story. Just that I was heading home around 3 a.m. I live out in the country, in the hills, about half a mile from the main road. About halfway up, the nice smooth road turns to dirt. As soon as my wheels hit the dirt, I immediately felt like something was watching me. Normally, I wouldn't think much of it. It's common to see wildlife out here watching as I drive by. But as I reached my usual parking spot, I grabbed the pocket knife I keep in the glove box and stepped out of the car. My eyes immediately locked onto a dark patch of woods across the road. Something told me to look there. I raised my knife and calmly said, "I know you're there." The moment those words left my lips, the world went dead silent. That was strange, because there's a waterfall about 500 or 600 feet from my house, and I always hear it when I get home. But even that went completely quiet. It stayed that way for a good 10 seconds before the sounds of the night returned. Then I heard something running away from me. I kept my knife at my side and walked toward the house like I normally would. I had the strong feeling that running would have been a very bad idea. When I got inside, I noticed the dogs, who usually greet me at the door, weren't anywhere near it. Instead, they were both in the living room, staring out the window in the exact direction I had felt that gaze coming from. I didn't say anything to my fiancée. She was asleep, and she doesn't believe in the paranormal like I do. I come from Mapuche heritage, a South American indigenous tribe, and I grew up on stories from my dad, tales of spirits, creatures, and legends. I'd also heard similar stories from Native American culture, things like Wendigos, skinwalkers, and other spirit beings, but since that night, I've never felt that same presence again. No idea what it was. I just know it wasn't a deer, like I usually see around my home. Thank you for watching. If you're into true, eerie experiences, hit that subscribe button and stick around for more tales that blur the line between reality and the unknown.